This is All About Avo with Jorge Tellez. Hello everyone, my name is Jorge Tellez and this is All About Avo. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Rain Renshaw of Limelight Wired. How you doing, Rain?
Good, man. Glad to be here.
All right. So in today's episode, we're basically going to teach you how to patch the Sapphire Touch.
We're going to take you from start to finish, taking a brand new show from scratch. We're even going to power on the desk with you all the way into programming a cue list.
All right. So let's begin. The power button is located right under the armrest here. It's a little blue ring right here. We're going to press that, fire up the desk. And the first thing you're going to get is this little window that is called the Titan Health Check. And it's basically checking to make sure that the desk is operating at its optimal performance. Mm-hmm. So as you can see, the desk is firing up. So let's begin.
We're lucky enough to we're gonna patch a few fixtures in here, and we're gonna get into all that later. But we're lucky that Elation has shout out to Elation. We have a Fuse SFX here, so we are actually gonna get to see what we're programming in 3D in real world as well.
All right, and the fixtures that we're using for today, obviously we're using the Elation Fuse SFX. We're going to use the Martin Mac Aura and a Roby Megapoint. So,
pretty heavy hitter lineup there.
It's going to be a sweet rig. So let's begin. All right, so now that we got the desk fired up, we're going to begin our patching. Over here in the control and the function buttons, we want to select patch, and over here we want to go select fixtures, and we want to type in the manufacturer name. Obviously, the first fixture we're using is the Elation.
Now, Avolites kind of creates their own catalog of personalities for fixtures. So if you don't see the fixture that you're trying to use already in the library, you can submit a request online, and they'll create the profile, and you can update your library.
Okay. So the next thing we want to do is type in Fuse, and it's the Fuse SFX. Boom. Our mode is our 31 DMX, and now you're gonna get a couple of window over here that pops up. It's basically the amount of fixtures you want to pop in. So we're going to do 8. Our DMX line is 1.
That's pretty much like the universe.
Our address is number 1. And our user number, we're gonna start with 11. And we'll go over user numbers a little further down. Now let's patch these in.
Hello.
All right, so as you can see, the software has placed all our fixtures in our fixture window, and it's giving you a little bit of information. It's letting you know, obviously, the user number, the DMX line, and your address number. Okay, so let's continue patching in some of these fixtures. Our next fixture will be the Martin Mac Aura. There's Martin Mac Aura.
Now we have a couple different modes here because the Fuse only had one mode, but some fixtures have multiple modes you can have them in for different amounts of DMX channels.
So we're going to go ahead and use the fixture with the most channels because we want to get the most out of the fixtures. So I believe we'll use this 25 DMX 16-bit, and again we want to patch in 8 fixtures. This line will be 2. The address is 1. And the user number, this time we're going to call this one 21 and patch. Now you can see the software has dropped off all our fixtures in our fixture window, but we want to keep ourselves kind of organized here. So I'm going to press move here. I'm going to move all these fixtures.
And this is important because when you select more than one fixture and you create an effect, the effect steps matter about the order of the order that you've selected the fixtures. So you want to make sure that you keep them in sequential order or you'll get kind of confused later on down the road.
Yeah, fixture order is very important. So let's patch in our next group of fixtures, which are our Roby Megapoint.
It's a crowd favorite.
Roby Megapoint. And we want to use the one with mode 1.
Mm-hmm. Famous mode 1.
All right, and again, in our little window here, we're going to put 8 fixtures. This will be DMX line 3. Address is 1, and our user number is going to be 31. All right, now let's patch these. And again, let's organize our fixtures. Mm-hmm. We're going to move Megapoints.
And we put these on 3 different lines as if they were on 3 different trusses, and we were going to run 3 different lines of data.
Very, very important to keep organized. Okay, so now that we got our fixture window set up, let's go ahead and go to groups. Now, we have a couple things that we don't need here, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete these. A couple things here real quick.
The console kind of automatically populates some groups that it might think is helpful to you, and sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, depending on what you're doing. But like he said, it's important to stay organized because we only have 24 fixtures here, but what if we had 2,400? It might be a different story.
All right. So the next thing we want to do over here is we want to create a couple of odd and even groups. And very easy to do. You're going to go ahead and select your group fixture. And over here in your function buttons, you're going to select your odd and even. And over here, you get a couple of features.
Yeah, a couple different options. You could select odd, even, 1 and X, so 1 and 3, 1 and 4, or the console will even do a random for you.
All right, so this time we're gonna select our odds, and we're just gonna place them right under the this palette right here.
And a quick double tap automatically records that group for you. So double tap is kind of it's the go-to gesture in the Titan software. If you're just trying to slap something in there real quick, just try double tapping it and it'll pop up.
All right, so we're gonna hit this button again, and this time we're gonna select our evens, double tap under there. Let's clear that. Now we're gonna work on our map auras. I'm gonna press button, odd. All right. Evens. Okay. And the same goes for the Roby Mega Points. Odd. Even. Now, next thing we want to do is we want to label these palettes. So we want to stay, we want to keep organized. So let's go ahead and you do that by selecting Set Legend. And I'm going to go ahead and grab these three right here. And
we can label them all the same thing when we do that. We're just going to type in odd, hit enter. We don't even have to hit enter because if we just now select the bottom three, we should be able to, without leaving the select set legend window, set the legend on the bottom three.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab these fixtures here.
Now I'll hit enter.
Okay, and good. We're set up with our
seamless.
odd and even. Yeah, well, we're all set up with our odd and even groups. So moving on to our next task here, create a grandmaster. So the way you do that is you press record.
It's pretty important.
Oh, very important. You want to create a master. It's going to be intensity master and a grandmaster. And we're going to place this right here on our fader, our first fader, and boom, we have a grandmaster. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to create a couple of group intensities.
We do.
So let's begin with our elation fuse. We want to give some value to that here under dimmer. 100%.
And you can see that intensity information is in the programmer because there's a little blue circle behind the eye down here.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and record that. Now over here, you wanna make sure that under record mode, you're under channel. Okay, and then we're gonna drop that off right here. And we're gonna do the same with the other fixtures.
And while he's doing that for the other fixtures, I'll just go ahead and say that there are 3 record modes. Channel mode is only the parameters of the fixtures that you've selected. So anything that's in the programmer is going to get recorded and nothing else. Fixture mode is going to be every parameter of every fixture that you've selected. And then stage mode is going to be every parameter of every fixture in the entire show. So what's up is going to get recorded in. We like to stick with channel because we only really want to record what we're working with at the right time.
Exactly. So let's label these groups. We want to make sure that everything is nice and neat in our console here. So I'm going to press Set Legend. And this one is our elation. Raymond, could you help me out there?
Sure. We'll put fuse SFX.
All right, we're gonna select set legend on the next one here.
And we'll do alright.
And
sorry. Boom.
That one is
this is our first time doing this together, guys.
Roby Mega Point. Okay, perfect. Now that we got that nice and lined up, let's double check and make sure that it's doing exactly what we want it to do. And it is an intensity fader.
Now you can't see the other two because we're not fortunate enough to have those fixtures here.
Right.
Shout out to Elation. But there is a way that we can see that.
All right, and that is by setting up our capture window. So let's do that next. The way we do that is we're gonna go under Open Workspace, we're gonna find Capture Visualizer, and boom, capture window pops up. It's a little small. I'd like to put it on the right screen here. So on top of the capture window, you have a couple little icons. I'm going to select the gear icon and move it over to the left screen. And now I want to enlarge this. So there's another feature. I can just size that
snap
window.
it to the grid.
There we go. And now we have our capture visualizer window open. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to arrange these lights in our capture window, which are kind of just laid out everywhere there. So let's begin with the fuse, our elation fuse. Now, before anything, you have to set up your wheels so they can work with the capture window. And the way you do that is over here under wheels, you have 4 different what is it called?
Modes.
Different modes. You have level, fade time, delay time, and visualizer. That's what you want to work on. Now that we're ready and we've assigned our wheels to the capture, we're going to hit position. And as you can see, we have position X, Y, Z. If you press position, you're going to hit orientation X, Y, Z and rotate X, Y, Z. We're going to start with position. Now your X moves the fixtures over to the left and to the right. I'm going to place that in the center. Y moves the fixture up and down. I'm going to take it up a little bit. And Z moves the fixture back and forth. So
Upstage, downstage.
Upstage, downstage.
For you theater folks.
Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that my fixtures are facing the audience. So I think I'm just gonna press this right here. I'll have Rain type in 90 degree. And now that fixture is facing the audience. So they're a little cramped, so let's give them a little space.
Let's do it.
The way you do that is by this incredible little button under function buttons, fan. Make sure we go over to position. And now we can spread these fixtures, giving them a little space. And voila, we're ready to go with that.
That's art.
Our next fixture that we're gonna work on is the Mac Auras. And again, we're gonna place these in the center of the stage here.
And you can see that when you patch them, the console just kind of dumps them into the visualizer. And then while George is walking them around, I'll say that if you had the lighting plot in front of you and each fixture had X, Y, Z coordinates, and you could just enter that raw data and then the lights will move around to where they need to be. We're doing this a little artistically on the fly.
All right, and we can type 90 degree there for me on these fixtures. Perfect. Now we know that these fixtures are facing the audience. And our next group of fixtures we're going to work on are the Roby Mega Points. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move these around, center them, and bring them down.
And since these are going to the ground, we could really type in 0.
Okay. And then we're going to go under orientation. And we want to make sure you can either use the wheels or you can type it in.
Type in 180 to flip them around. It's a good deck package.
Perfect. Let's give these fixtures a little space here by using fan. Let's go to position and give them a little space here. Now, obviously we want to rotate these fixtures, so
let's figure out how to do that because I thought we did it. There we go.
Beautiful. All right. So now let's double check that everything is nice and set up the way we want it to, which they are.
Wow.
Looks amazing.
What a show.
All right.
It's pretty artistic.
So the next thing we want to do is we're going to set up this locate button. And I love this button because it's basically your home button. I mean, it could be called the home button rather than the locate button, but it's basically you want to record a home position, and that's where you're going to record it. So every time you start programming, you hit locate, it homes the light, and you begin your programming. So let's begin.
For sure.
We're going to grab the elations. We're going to go.
Grab the whole group.
But before we move on, you have to make sure that you get out of you set your wheels back to level. All right, so now we're gonna go over here under dimmer.
Now locate's pretty cool because by default, it's gonna snap the fixture to an open white state so that you can, build up your look without putting anything in the programmer. So you can see that he tapped the dimmer up and that was the first time the blue circle came around intensity, even though the fixture was on.
Okay, so now that we have an intensity in the fixture, we want to record that to our locate button by simply pressing record. 1 second. I'm going to hit record, locate, and we've recorded that look into our locate button. Now we're going to do the same for the other fixtures. All right. Oh, want to make sure you select the group.
Yeah.
All right, we have those. We have a nice position, home down.
Yeah.
At full. We're gonna record this into our locate.
And the reason that we think it's worth showing you to record a locate, because even though we're making ours white, just like the console already does, was maybe you're in a different situation, and when you locate a fixture, you want to keep it blue so that it doesn't stand out because you're doing something live. You could record your locate to be blue, and then that way, if you're in the middle of a show and you have to locate a fixture, it doesn't totally stick out like a sore thumb.
Right. All right. So our last fixture that we wanna work on is our Roby Mega Point. I'm gonna bring that, give that an intensity. We like that, and we're gonna record that locate. Boom. So now let's double check that these locate buttons actually work. I'm gonna select elation. I'm gonna select our Mac auras, and I'm gonna select our Roby points, and they're doing exactly what we want them to do.
Nothing's in the program.
All right. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to double check that the console is actually talking to our rig. And how do you do that? Well, we want to check the network settings.
Yeah. So we know that this is working because whenever we bring the fader up, the fuse comes on. But let's say we didn't. If we wanted to go in and swap out and see what was going on, we access our network settings by holding down the AVO key. Now when you hold down the AVO key, some keys down here in the control interface have secondary purposes, and you can see that they have a little line with another name. So when you hold down the AVO key, all of these keys are now their secondary functions. So when you hit disk, it's actually going to take you into the setup menu, and the soft keys become your setup options. If you go into DMX settings, and it takes a couple seconds for it to populate, but the DMX lines will show up right here. And you'll see that line 1, 2, and 3, which is where we patched our lights, we have assigned to DMX output A, B, and C, which is what's going on in the back of the console. So we have a cable going from DMX output A into the fuse over here in our highly sophisticated setup, and now we're ready to go.
All right, so now that we got that done, the next thing is probably one of the most important things, and it's saving your show. You don't want some newbie walking behind the desk and unplugging your desk and ruining your day.
I did that once when I was an intern.
And also, you just want to make sure, and you want to name your show. So there's two ways of doing that. You can press the disk button. You can hit that twice, and it's just a quick autosave, or you can press it once, giving you a couple of options there.
And you can see that our current show is an unsaved show. So if we hit save as, it's going to give us our options. We're going to save it to the internal hard drive, and we can type all about AVO.
Okay.
Enter.
Awesome.
Look at that.
So now that we've pretty much we've set up the patch part of the desk, we have our fixture window organized, we have our groups organized, our capture window, our fixtures and our capture window are all nice and laid out. We have a grandmaster and group intensity. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us. This is all about AVO. My name is Jorge Tellez.
My name's Rain. If you learned something, hit the like, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you next time.